Welcome everybody to our first Xpedition. We are here at Oaks Park in Oregon, and in this video I'm going to be giving my experience of the park and also kind of giving some fun facts and seeing what all is here at Oaks Park. It's one of the oldest parks that I've visited. It's been around since 1905. They have some cool stuff. Adrenaline Peak, which is a pretty large coaster, the largest coaster in Oregon, and the most thrilling one. But they also have America's oldest operating skating rink and a lot of other cool things. So it should be a lot of fun today, and we'll be seeing what there is to do here. Now I will provide some more background info on Oaks Amusement Park. As I mentioned in the intro, Oaks Park has been around since 1905, which makes it the oldest operating amusement park in the state of Oregon. Oaks was originally built as a trolley park to encourage the usage of Portland's growing transportation systems at a time when trolley parks were being built everywhere. The park also intentionally opened right before the Lewis and Clark Centennial Exposition, which would bring in over 1 million visitors from around the world to the city of Portland. Thanks to the event, the park's attendance would start and hold strong over time. While most trolley parks are long gone, Oaks Amusement Park still remains today as Oregon's premier place for rides, as the park has a nice collection of rides ranging from older classics to modern thrills. The first attraction I will be talking about is Oaks Park's signature coaster, which is Adrenaline Peak. This Gerstlauer Eurofighter coaster first opened in 2018 as a replacement for the park's former signature coaster Looping Thunder, which was a Pinfari looper that operated from 1996 to 2017. Adrenaline Peak may be a compact coaster, but it packs in a nice variety of forces and elements. It also has a nice appearance with a bold pink and blue color scheme. The presentation gets even better at night since Adrenaline Peak features a fantastic lighting package from KCL that I unfortunately was not able to see in person. With all of that said, here's my reaction and thoughts on Adrenaline Peak after my first ride. We just got off Adrenaline Peak, the big coaster here in Oregon, the most thrilling coaster in Oregon, and it was a lot of fun. It had a lot of everything. The first drop was really good, along with the last airtime hill. The inversions were really good. The vertical loop had some nice hang time toward the top, was also really intense entering into it and out of it. And then the other inversion, the roll, had some pretty nice hang time. The other turns did have a decent bit of intensity, some positives to them. And the ride, I heard a lot of people mention that it has a rattle. It like shuffles a little bit, but it's definitely, it's nothing to, like, it's not gonna be a problem. It's pretty smooth. I think it's very re-rideable. I'll definitely be rewriting this again today, and it's a really fun ride. The next attraction I did was Spider, which is a rare classic eye-release spider attraction that has been operating for over 50 years. I have seen similar rides at Cedar Point and Kings Island that I missed out on, so it was nice to finally experience a ride like Spider, which is becoming harder and harder to find nowadays. This is what I thought about Spider. So I just got off this Spider ride. It's a classic flat ride. I've actually had the chance to see these at a few parks, but this is the first time I've ever gotten to ride one, and it was pretty disorienting, a decent bit of spinning. But I was surprised the downward swings were pretty forceful, and it was a pretty disorienting ride. Definitely pretty fun, especially if you kind of shift your weight around. Pretty solid flat ride for sure. The other coaster Oaks Park has is Zoom Coaster, which is an E&F Miler kiddie coaster, and in my experience, E&F Miler usually makes some pretty exciting kiddie coasters that pull some decent forces. That is why these kiddie coasters are quite fun even for coaster enthusiasts like myself. Let's find out if Zoom Coaster lives up to that standard. So I just did Zoom Coaster, which is the E&F Miler kiddie coaster, and for a kiddie coaster it was definitely pretty intense. The helix had some good laterals on it, along with the bottom of the first drop, especially for a kiddie coaster. And then the last few bunny hills at the end actually had some nice little mini pots of airtime. And really no one does kiddie coasters like E&F Miler. They have my favorite kiddie coasters because they are so weirdly aggressive. And this ride definitely delivered that. So thumbs up for Zoom Coaster for sure. Next I did Atmosphere, which is a Zamperla Discovery Revolution that opened in 2021. This ride replaced the park's former smaller frisbee attraction, Screamin' Eagle. Atmosphere is unique from many other frisbee rides because it has two modes you can choose from to experience. The first is the 180-degree mode, which swings you high but not to the point where you fully invert. The other mode, and the one I experienced, is 360-degree mode, where you will fully invert anywhere from 1 to 3 times, and you can hear my thoughts here. So I just did Atmosphere in 360 mode, and it only had one max swing, but it was pretty crazy. The hang time on the ride was, on that one swing, was absolutely sensational. I mean, some of the best hang time I've ever gotten, like, period, on any ride I've ever done. And the swings, there's a lot of weightlessness to them. Overall, a pretty fun ride for sure. And not honestly as disorienting as I would have thought, which for some people might be, it's probably a good thing. And so it's just a really fun ride for sure. After doing one of Oaks Park's newest rides, I experienced the oldest operating ride in the park, which is a carousel that has been operating for over 100 years. This carousel is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and it has some really nice looking wooden carved animals of all kinds, which I enjoy looking at compared to carousels that just have horses. The ride itself is pretty much what you would expect from a standard classic carousel, which makes it a nice ride to do if you want to take a break and relax. Speaking of classic rides, the Rocco plane here is a very rare Irely flat ride that opened in 1960. Having the opportunity to check this ride out was really neat since I had skipped out on riding the Rocco plane at my local amusement park, Playland Fresno, which has been removed in recent years. With that being said, I will say that the Rocco plane is not necessarily the type of ride for me, as you'll see in my reaction, but if you know how to shift your weight and flip, you can get some of the craziest ride experiences imaginable. Even with that being said, I hope the few remaining Rocco planes, including this one, stay around for decades to come, as they provide a one-of-a-kind ride experience. Here are my thoughts after my first Rocco plane experience. So I just did the Rocco plane flat ride. It's a very rare classic flat ride. First time I've ever done one of these, so that was really cool to do. And as for the flat ride, you can make it either like as crazy as you want. If you know what you're doing, you can make it flip a lot of times. And also with the lock, you can also make it so you don't really flip hardly at all if you want. So pretty cool how customizable it is. Me and my brother rode it. It definitely was pretty tricky to get it to flip. We got it to like invert, but full flips were pretty hard to come by. And it is one of those rides also where if you do it and you put a lot of effort into it, it can sort of tire you out, maybe even make you a little sick. That's kind of what happened to me. Nothing too bad, but there was a little bit of that. So just know that if you do ride the Rocco plane, but I would still recommend it. It's a very rare flat ride. We're losing a lot of them, so it was really cool to try it. And it was definitely very interesting to experience for sure. The heart of Oaks Park has to be its roller rink, which has been around since the park's opening year in 1905. This is also the oldest operating rink in the United States and the largest on the western side of the US. If you go skating on a Thursday or Sunday, like I did, there will be a live organ playing at the rink, and it really creates such a nice vibe when you're skating around the rink, even for an inexperienced roller skater such as myself. If you visit this park and are able to roller skate, I'd highly recommend checking out the roller rink, as it is one of the most interesting skating venues out there, both from a historical and experience perspective, as you'll hear from in my reaction. Just did the roller skating rink here at Oaks Park. It is the oldest one in all of America. It's been around since I believe 1905, and the pipe organ was playing, which was really cool. Really cool vibe. I'm not the best at skating, as you can probably see from the footage, but it was a lot of fun to do. Definitely, if you're into skating, this is definitely a must-do if you come here to Oaks Park. That pretty much wraps up all the individual ride and attraction overviews, but before I do my outro, I wanted to note a few extra things about Oaks Park. Firstly, I went on a Sunday afternoon and the park had anywhere from 5 to 25 minute queues for rides and seemed decently busy, which was nice to see for a smaller park post-pandemic. Every ride besides Disco was open the day I went, and there was a decent collection of rides even outside of the ones I experienced, including the go-karts, that I would have done had I had more time, since they are included in the wristband. It's also worth noting that if you want to visit this park on a hot day and want to cool off, There is a conveniently located beach by the river that was also quite popular the day I went to Oaks Park. Lastly, I'll leave you with my outro that includes my final thoughts on Oaks Amusement Park. That is gonna do it for my day here at Oaks Park. It was a really fun day. This little park in Portland, I definitely would recommend if you are in the Portland area and thinking of getting Adrenaline Peak. Now, it should be noted that as of right now, you can go into the park for free, but rides can only be done with wristband. There isn't a pay-per ride system in place right now. So if you are coming here, I definitely would recommend that in addition to doing Adrenaline Peak and Zoom Coaster, definitely do some of the flat rides, especially if you haven't done them at other parks. They have some pretty rare flat rides, the Spider, along with the Rocco plane, and a few others. Those are definitely things I would recommend for sure. And then the skating rink, it is the oldest one in America. It's really cool. If you go on certain days, they'll be playing the pipe organ. That was really nice to do. If you're into skating, I definitely recommend that, which that is like a $12 thing, and that includes skates. So that's also a thing of recommendation. But this park was quite a bit of fun, and definitely a place that, like I said, I'd recommend if you're in Portland. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour.